They left my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, with strangers, while they flew to Hawaii with my sister's kids like she was some queen. And the worst part? They didn't even tell me. It was my neighbor, Mrs. Carroll, who called me crying, saying, "Emma, did you know social services just took your daughter away?" Before we go further, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story will leave you speechless. My hands were shaking. I hadn't even been gone for a full day. I was at an urgent interview out of town, something that could have changed our lives. I left Lily with my parents because I trusted them. They were her grandparents. But instead of taking care of her, they dropped her off at a foster care center and left a note saying, "We're not equipped to handle her anymore." Then boarded a first-class flight to Maui, with beach hats and my sister's spoiled brats in tow. I called my mom in full panic, and guess what she said? "Emma, we needed a break. You should have planned better. Anyway, Hawaii's been beautiful." My voice cracked. "Lily is with strangers. She's crying for me, Mom. How could you?" She interrupted. "You're always so dramatic. Maybe now you'll finally learn how to be responsible." Responsible? I was working 3 jobs to keep our lives together. I was building something silently. No one knew I was coding a project at night, planning my own startup. My dream was just beginning to form, but none of that mattered to them. To them, I was just the struggling single mom, while my sister Allison was the golden girl with her smiling twins and shiny Instagram posts. They always said, "Emma, maybe if you were more like Allison, you wouldn't be in this mess." But they had no idea the mess they just created, because I wasn't going to just bring Lily home. I was about to destroy everything they built with one public move, one they'd never see coming. I got Lily back the same night, but not because my parents helped. I had to stand in a cold, gray government office, holding back tears while signing forms like I was the one who abandoned her. The social worker looked at me like I was some kind of criminal until she finally said, "She's in room 12. She's been asking for you all day." When I walked in, Lily ran into my arms, her cheeks stained with tears. "Mommy, why did Grandma say you weren't coming back?" My heart shattered. I didn't even know what to say. I just held her tighter and whispered, "I'm here now, baby. I promise. I'm never letting you go again." I knew then I couldn't just forgive and forget. My parents had made a choice, and they had no clue what I had been building in the shadows all this time. Because for the past 14 months, while they were laughing at my pathetic little coding hobby, I had been working with 2 silent investors. I had launched a parenting tech app, quietly, steadily, something that helps single moms manage everything from legal help to emergency childcare. It was growing, fast. And just last week, one of the top tech publications called it the Uber of survival for single moms. But I told no one in my family, because I knew. I knew that the same people who mocked me would try to take credit when I succeeded. And now, they were about to learn who I really was. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Allison had planned a welcome home brunch for our parents after their trip. A big flashy family gathering with banners, gifts, catered food. The usual spotlight stunt she pulled to make herself look like the perfect daughter. And guess who they invited last minute? Me. The girl they left out. The one they betrayed. Mom called the night before, suddenly sweet. "Emma, honey, we think it'd be nice if Lily saw her cousins. Come, okay? Let's just move past everything." I smiled into the phone, my voice calm. "Sure, Mom, I'll come." But I wasn't coming as the same Emma they used to mock. I had prepared something that would make the whole room go silent. Because if they thought they could throw me away like I didn't matter, they had no idea I now owned the company that was about to fire Allison's husband. The brunch looked like something out of a magazine. Balloons, flowers, fresh-cut fruit arranged like art. My sister Allison stood at the door, wearing a pastel dress and fake smile like she was hosting a presidential gala. "Emma, you made it," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, like she was shocked I could afford gas money. I smiled back. "Wouldn't miss it." Lily clung to my side. I could feel her heartbeat against my arm. Still nervous, still unsure around the very people who abandoned her. As we stepped inside, my mom gave me the fakest hug I've ever felt. "You look tired, sweetheart. Are things still hard financially?" I smiled. "Actually, I just signed a new deal yesterday, but we'll get to that." She blinked. "Oh?" Then came the jokes. My uncle chuckled. "Still doing that little app thing, Emma?" "My grandson makes games too. He's 10. The whole table laughed. My dad chimed in. "You should ask your sister's husband Jeremy for help. He just got promoted to CTO at Dunmark Software." Real tech, you know? Dunmark Software, the same company that had been reviewing an acquisition proposal for my app. The same company I now had full leverage over because they had unknowingly signed a tech licensing deal that gave me more power than they realized. And Jeremy? He had just approved a budget cut that would wipe out my platform. So I had sent an email this morning. One final message. One final trap. I stood up and gently tapped my glass. "Before we eat, I wanted to share something." They all looked up, bored, polite, unbothered. "I know you've all had your opinions about me, about my life, about how I raise Lily alone, about how I work nights and weekends while Allison gets family vacations." I saw Mom shift in her seat. Dad crossed his arms. I continued. "What you don't know is that the little app you all laughed at, it was just valued at $24 million silence. And the company Jeremy works for? Dunmark? They just tried to terminate our licensing contract, not knowing that I hold 51% of the controlling rights." Jeremy's face went pale. I turned to him. "You should check your inbox. I believe your termination notice went out 10 minutes ago." Gasps. Forks dropped. Someone muttered, "Is this real?" And then, my mother stood up trembling. "Emma, what is this? Some kind of joke?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "No, Mom. This is the moment you realize you left your granddaughter in foster care and flew to Hawaii with the wrong child." And that's when the cameras rolled in, because I had invited someone else to brunch too, a journalist. The cameras weren't small, 2 of them. A journalist, a mic operator, and a rolling bag full of equipment. My mom's eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. "Emma, what the hell is this?" I stayed calm. The reporter, Melissa Graham, walked in behind me with a warm smile, but her tone was sharp. "We're here to document a story on the rise of women-led tech startups. Emma's is one of the fastest growing in the country. And this family gathering? It's the perfect contrast." My dad stammered. "We didn't agree to be filmed." Melissa didn't blink. "That's okay. You're not the story. Emma is. And the truth? That's public record." Everyone in the room suddenly looked tiny, like they were shrinking. I turned to my mom, who still hadn't sat back down. "Remember when you said I was irresponsible? That maybe Lily deserved better?" Her mouth opened. No words came out. "You didn't know I was working 16-hour days while Lily slept beside my desk. You didn't know I pitched to 47 investors. You didn't know I coded through hospital visits, through bills, through anxiety attacks. You didn't know anything. Because you never asked." I pointed to Allison, who had stopped pretending to smile. "And you. You always made sure I felt like the family failure. But now, let me show you what failure looks like." I nodded to Melissa. She handed me a tablet. I tapped play. A screen appeared on the TV behind the dining table. A video of me, holding Lily on my lap, accepting the National Innovators Grant. Then another clip. My TEDx talk. My app's dashboard. Millions of users. Press coverage. TechCrunch. Forbes. All real. All recent. All undeniable. Then, silence. And suddenly, my mom burst into tears. This is not how family solves things. I walked over, kneeling by her chair, my voice steady. No, Mom. Family solves things before letting a 4-year-old girl sleep in a stranger's house while they sip cocktails in Maui. I looked at Allison, whose phone buzzed nonstop now. She peeked at it, then gasped. Jeremy had just messaged her. What did your sister do? I just got removed from the board. I smiled, standing. This isn't revenge. It's correction. Then I turned to the camera. Millions of single moms out there are doing everything alone. They don't need pity. They need power. And people like me, we're building it. For them. Not for applause, but for survival. Melissa whispered, "That's your ending line." But I wasn't done. I looked around that room. Every person who ever doubted me sitting in stunned silence. Then I dropped the final bomb. And just so you all know, this house, I bought it last week. Allison forgot to pay the second mortgage. Welcome to my home. The room exploded into chaos. Allison jumped to her feet. You're lying. This house is ours. Dad signed it over to me years ago. I pulled out a folder from my bag and tossed it on the table. Check the date. The foreclosure notice came 3 months ago. I paid off the debt, cleared the liens, and signed the purchase agreement 2 days before your little brunch invite. Her face crumbled. My mom looked like she was going to faint. You bought our family home? No, I corrected her calmly. I saved it. From your neglect. Just like I saved myself. Just like I saved Lily. My dad stood up then, voice shaking with anger. You think money gives you the right to humiliate us? I stared at him, heart steady. No, Dad, you did that on your own. When you chose vacations over responsibility, when you chose Allison's comfort over Lily's safety, when you laughed at my struggle instead of lifting me up. He fell silent. Everyone did. Melissa leaned in, her camera still rolling. Emma, do you want to close with any final thoughts? I nodded. My voice didn't tremble this time. There's always someone in the family who gets overlooked, who's too quiet, too different, too much of a burden. I was her. I know what it feels like to be invisible in your own home. I reached down and picked up Lily, holding her close. But now, I'm not invisible. I'm unstoppable. And the little girl you threw away like she didn't matter? She's going to grow up knowing her mother fought like hell to make sure she never had to beg for love again. Tears streamed down Melissa's face. Even the camera guy sniffed. Then I looked around the room one last time. This isn't revenge. It's the reward for surviving. I walked toward the door, Lily in my arms, heart light for the first time in years. As I left, Allison whispered behind me, barely audible. Emma, wait. What happens to us now? I paused, smiled without turning around and said, that's not my problem anymore. And with that, I stepped into the sunlight. Free, powerful, and finally, seen.